What up, is Marcus from Dynasty Fun. We have a DeAndre Swift signed jersey. It'll be given away to one of you guys when we hit 2,000 subscribers. Our channel has been growing this last couple weeks. A lot of people have been wanting the Dynasty football content, and if you missed last year's Dynasty content, you can go back and look at how accurate I was through last year. We went 1 through 6, now we're going to go 7 through 12 in Dynasty. This is one QB, where we'll do some super flex probably either next week or the end of this week. So subscribe. That'll keep you in touch with what is coming up next. So if you missed 1 through 6, again, that was a couple days ago, Saturday's video, and of course today being Monday. Number 7, and this was a really tough one, and by the way, watch his national championship game today as Jameson Williams. He's 6'2", 189, and there are some definitely attributes that I absolutely love on Jameson Williams, and there are some things that scare me to death. And so Jameson Williams is that player, and I'm just going to throw out this name. It's a name that we don't talk about a lot anymore, but it's Henry Ruggs. He doesn't play like Henry Ruggs, but Henry Ruggs had that, like, wow, he could be amazing, or wow, he could really bust. And I feel like Jameson Williams has similar attributes that he could be amazing. He could also bust. He had 1 year of basically, he went from Ohio State, which, they have Garrett Wilson and Olave, but then he went to Alabama, where he actually just exploded onto the field. And so he had 75 catches, 1,507 yards, and 15 touchdowns, which is a wonderful year. And you're gonna see him in the national championship game, which is always fun to see some of these players play in the biggest stages of their career. He runs a sub 4.340. This guy is fast. He is smooth and he is fast. And we love speed. He could be the first wide receiver drafted in the NFL draft, in the upcoming draft. Does that mean something? Well, the draft capital is always nice, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to go straight into success. So we've seen some of these players. Henry Ruggs was the first wide receiver taken in that draft, and you can see how that went. And there's been plenty of other times where the number 1 wide receiver in that draft was not the best player in that draft, or best wide receiver in that draft. The things that scare me: one season is all we get with Jameson Williams. And really, it's like, why didn't he succeed in the Ohio State regime? What happened there that made him not succeed? And then the other one is route running. He doesn't use the head fakes. Like, I would love him to learn from like a Justin Jefferson or something, or heck, even Jamar Chase has gotten better with his route running, or like a Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is one of the best separators in the NFL. And Jameson, I feel like, doesn't utilize those abilities in Alabama. Even Devontae Smith, excellent route runner. And you see a lot of these Alabama guys. Judy was a good route runner and technician. And you see a lot of these route runners come out of Alabama. And Amari Cooper was one of the best at his time. But Jameson Williams is a different type of receiver coming from Alabama. And so that he's 7 here. I could see him with Drake London. They kind of battle back and forth in my brain. But then we go to a little bit of a drop-off. And I said that we were going to do a little bit of a drop-off. It is David Bell. He's out of Purdue, 6'2", 200. What did I put? 215 pounds? I put 2,015 pounds. I hope he's not 2,015 pounds, because that would be really, really. I think he would be more of a nose tackle there. But he's 215 pounds ish, or 205 pounds, whatever I was supposed to write. He's low 200s, and you're talking about a guy who is good at being physical. He's pretty much good at everything. Think of Rashad Bateman as a Raven last year. Rashad Bateman didn't have many holes in his game. But he also wasn't super elite in anything. So I guess one of the big down things of David Bell is he's not super elite at one thing that would make him go, wow, that jumps off the tape. He's just really good at everything, and that's why he's into this kind of 8 section. One of the other things I will say is he's not super hyped like a Jameson Williams. So you might not get a first-round capital. And as we know, analytics-wise, if an NFL team drafts somebody, it maybe in the second round compared to the first, there is a small difference. There is a difference enough, again, where we have to start separating some of these players, and maybe the hype will come back for David Bell, but I just don't think so. I don't see any elite attribute that goes, wow, that is amazing, that's going to help hype him up, versus the Drake London, who's 6'5", 210 pounds, or Jameson Williams, who might run a 4.28 40. Like, those are different attributes that go, wow, he could be a top 10 overall pick, or he could be top 15 overall pick, which I don't see David Bell touching that or sniffing that. And that's why Rashad Bateman was never listed as he's going to be the first overall wide receiver taken. He was kind of always going to be, he's going to be 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that area. But a good wide receiver at the next level. Number 9, we're going to go back to the running backs, and it's Rashad White. Arizona State, 6'2", 210 pounds. I mean, I say 6'2", 210 pounds. You almost probably go into like the, everyone else is 6'1", 6'2", 210 pounds in this draft class, it seems like. But you almost kind of go into this, he's a power back or something like that. But he's not. He does lack some acceleration, which is a downside for Rashad White. He is a JUCO transfer as well. So, again, kind of one of those things that he didn't have much time at Arizona State. But he has excellent lateral agility, which makes him dangerous in smaller spaces. And he is a catcher. And what I mean by catcher, he's a good, actually, running back that can turn to like a running back receiver type. 43 catches, 460 yards. He's a big passing down back, which is weird for Rashad White. He doesn't look the type, but then when you watch him on film and you go, oh, who is that? He looks just different. He's like I'm gonna have to figure out a good comp for him. I know everyone likes comps. But it's gonna be a hard comp to try to find for Rashad White. Maybe you guys have a comp for him. I almost wanted to say like Latavius Murray right off the bat, but that's maybe not the best. By the way, if you like this video this far, we'll go through 10 through 12 here. Again, like and comment. Comment what trades you're looking in Dynasty. It always helps the algorithm. Helps more people reach this channel. All right, 10 through 12. 10 might be the most boom or bust player in this entire draft, and it is George Pickens out of Georgia. He's 6'3", lengthy, wiry. His biggest issue, I mean, he was the wide receiver one, or maybe with Treylon Burks. He was arguably the wide receiver 1 12 months ago. With the ACL tear before the season started. He has high upside, but I mean, you watch this guy and he looks the part. He catches away from the body. He has really good hands. He is that wiry type that just seems, he's like a bigger version, and I'm not going to say he's a bigger, size-wise. He looks like a bigger version of like Devontae Smith. He looks like more of like a kind of an AJ Green body type. Just a lengthy, wiry player that seems to just be in the right spot and seems to always be able to catch the ball, and even if he's in contested situations. And so George Pickens may rise above a player like even Bell, depending on capital and everything like that. But for right now, he's going to be number 10. We'll see what he does in the draft combine and everything. And so number 11, we're going to go to the 11 straight out. And this is one of the most, not polarized. The next 11 and 12 are players that I typically don't like. And that's why they're 11 and it's why they're 12. And I'll walk you through briefly why that is here. Wandel Robinson out of Kentucky. He's 5'11", 185. That's not the biggest reason. I don't mind 5'11", 185. And let's just go through 12, because 12 is Jahan Dotson, and he's 5'11", 184 out of Penn State. They're different wide receivers completely. Wandel Robinson, of course, he is the Debo, and I'm going to say this lightly. He could be Debo. He could be Laviska Shenault. And Shenault is a player, again, why I was super down on Shenault were because I knew that he's more of a gadgety player. He's a player that you have to be in the right system. Like, you see Debo being used and you're like, wow, that's how you use a player like that. But then if Shenault was probably in that situation, he'd probably be used just as well. It's a guy that, yeah, he's going to run a little bit. He's going to catch a little bit. He's versatile. He's explosive. Like, these are types of things that Wandel Robinson are. I don't see him being the elite. Like, Debo almost puts this kind of category of wide receiver to a different level because he's the only one that is like that. Percy Harvin was kind of like that as well, a running back, wide receiver, gadgety. But then you get players like Dwayne Eskridge, which maybe Dwayne Eskridge, but Tutu Atwell. You get players like Laviska Shenault, who's a bigger type of wide receiver that does these type of things. Lynn Bowden. We remembered him for about 30 seconds. Again, players I'm not usually super high on, so I could see definitely Wandel moving down. Same with Dotson, I could see him moving down. Because Wandel, again, bad to get. He's a smaller guy, has problems with bigger cornerbacks in college. He struggles against the press. These are things that are big concerns for Wandel. And for Dotson, again, 183 catches, 27-57 for yards, 25 touchdowns. Those are good things. It's one of the best Penn State wide receiver things in history, seasons in history. He's fast, he's agile, but again, smaller frame. He seems to actually lack some short yardage explosion, and you're like, well, why is he 12? Because he's fast, he's agile, and you could see him as a, why am I blanking on his name? A former Penn State guy, KJ Hamler. You could see him as that type of wide receiver, 5'11", 184. Again, a guy, KJ Hamler, if he was used, if he would have been in a better situation, I think he could have been used better, but I think he could have produced more. But again, when you're with Judy and Tim Patrick and Sutton, and you have no quarterback, and you keep getting hurt, it doesn't really help. And so Jahan Dotson and Wandel Robinson might be players that move down, and you might have some of these running backs that start to move and creep up. And so, or you might have other wide receivers that start to show out, or you have like these, and I'll go back a couple of years, like the Chase Claypools that showed out at the combine. You go, whoa, I need to relook at some of that tape and see what that happened. Or DK was kind of a high riser towards the end too. You're like, okay, this guy looks like he's superhuman. Where did he come from? Where is he drafted? Oh, he's drafted in the second round. Okay, good opportunity. You look at you go, okay, well, maybe he's not a one-trick pony, but a couple-trick pony, like a 2-3 trick pony. Is that going to work on the next level? We have seen that work at the next level versus a player maybe like Dotson or Wandel Robinson, who are better for NFL teams, like good wide receiver threes. Like you could see a Robinson go to the Redskins, and you're like, wow, that's perfect for him because he really needs to be in that type of team. Or like, hey, Minnesota. Like, I mean, we have KJ Osborne, but like you can see that he could be in the KJ Osborne role where you're like, he's good a couple weeks, he's bad a couple other weeks. By the way, I went to the game and that was frustrating for that first half. Wow, that sucked. That game was not fun. But you know what? As a Vikings fan, you got to support them through thick and thin. Goodbye, Mike Zimmer. Goodbye, Spielman. If I could pick, if I'm the NFL, if I could pick, and we were discussing, I was discussing with some buddies here. If I could pick my NFL head coach, right now it'd be Kellen Moore. I don't know much about GMs wise. I mean, I know some, but I don't know about who are the assistants that could come in. But Kellen Moore, and my defensive coordinator would be Vic Fangio, who's the previous fired head coach at Denver. Why can I not say he doesn't have a quarterback? Fired coach at Denver, and he's had a really good defense at Denver. He's a really good defensive-minded coach, and he could go into being a defensive coordinator for the Vikings. I think that'd be an excellent offensive-minded head coach, defensive-minded, of course, defensive coordinator. I don't want like a defensive head coach. I bet Byron Leftwich could be another option. Eric Bellamy scares me. I don't know. It worries me that he hasn't had a head coaching gig, and how much of it is Andy Reid, how much of it is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and like I get worried with some of these amazing teams that have all these great. It's like how many of you, like of course if you're in Madden, like we're going back to Madden, I know, but if you're going to Madden and you go, I want to pick the best team and play a lesser team, how great of play calling do you need to be? Not that great. I mean, I like to see teams that have lesser talent outperform that. And so even Buffalo, I guess Buffalo would be like they probably have outperformed it sometimes. Maybe they've underperformed it sometimes too. So I guess it's tough. NFL's tough. Okay. So again, this is Marcus Dynasty Fun Dads. We'll see you tomorrow, or well, maybe not tomorrow. Maybe in 2 days. We'll find out. All right. Peace out. Take care. Now turn up.